Okay. Thanks for having me. We're working on some very impressive stuff, I think, and would be an honor to show, all these investors and everyone attending the webinar what we're working on. So first of all, I don't want to assume that everyone knows about HandCash or what we do, or whatever. So I will try to do a very quick explanation of what we do. So basically, we power virtual economies. That's the short line, right? The short version of it. So what we do is that we started in 2018 as a very easy to use Bitcoin wallet that solved many UX issues that cryptocurrencies had since the beginning, and we've been I would say on the forefront of UX. Many companies have started to copy us. Years ago, and I think we've been one of the first to have like usernames instead of addresses, and use the main local currency as the main currency. So we've had a lot of success in terms of UX. We have a good reputation on that. But then we saw that the huge opportunity with these tiny payments that we can enable through through Bitcoin, especially, or cryptocurrencies in general, but the one we use is Bitcoin SV. It's very powerful to power virtual economies inside apps, games, or any place where you have a lot of constant interaction between users, and you can have live rewards and things that are very, very cool. So let me show you a little bit. Can you see my screen? Hovering my...
Yeah, we can.
So this is the wallet that's currently in production. This is my personal wallet. So this is the balance of money that I have. One cool thing about HandCash is that it doesn't require a ton of money to get started. Just from $5, you can start using crypto apps, when in most other cryptocurrency apps, like with Solana or other ecosystems, normally it takes like an average of $50 to get started, and then you have to learn about what is gas fees and all of that. With HandCash, it's just like using Cash App, something very similar to that. So the cool advantage that HandCash has, it's kind of unique, is that it's one wallet that you can connect to many apps and games. These are all the apps and games that I'm connected to, and these are some of our clients. So I wanted to show you something. So the cool thing is that right from HandCash, you can launch these apps that you have previously connected to. That means that they have access to your money. Oh, I just had a payment from Dave. Hey, Unbounded Capital webinar. He sent me 1 cent. It was instant, and I can already use it in one of these apps, right? That's very, very cool. Thank you, Dave. So let me show you, for example, DuraDogs, right? I have these 2 dogs here. This is a game that's connected to my HandCash account, and it not only uses payments, but also NFTs, which is pretty cool when put together, because you can have, they're working on a marketplace, which is really, really cool. And you can dig for inventory, and you can have a secondary market of these digital items, and it's really cool. So I have this dog, and I can train him, feed him, whatever, and everything happens on the blockchain, which, I don't know, it's, the cool thing that it happens on the blockchain is that this dog is an item itself, and with all the characteristics, level, and the hats, and all the colors and everything that I have, and I can transfer that without permission from DuraDogs itself. I mean, a cool thing is that I own the dog, and I can use it not just in other compatible, not just in DuraDogs, but for let's say that I can send this dog, or I can sell it or whatever to Dave, and Dave can use it in DuraDogs. But also, these NFTs are made in a way. This is powered by Asset Layer, by the way. This is a great technology. Also funded by the guys from Unbounded. The cool thing about this is that it has a great metadata that's shared across apps and games, and you can there are other games that you can use this dog on. So you can use this dog for racing or whatever, and it's very cool because it's as it lives on the blockchain, is separate from the game itself, which is something that's only possible if you use a blockchain for this. This is also Haste Arcade. It is another platform. I'm already logged in with my name and all of that. You can just log in with your HandCash account. And this is the balance that I have. As you see, it matches the balance that I had this. So this is how you sign, right? Like you just basically approve connecting, and that's it. And you already have, this app already has permission to.
And just to be clear what happened, you're signing in a way that kind of cryptographically is very similar to someone taking their, full, wallet ID and going on something, but you've just made it a lot easier. But that same thing is happening on the blockchain, right?
But the secret formula is that I don't have any, the difference with MetaMask and all of this is that I don't need to install any any browser extension to make this work, because we have distributed signing of every transaction. And this enables something that's very unique to HandCash, and it's very powerful, which means that I can trigger the payments from a third-party app, and there's some permissions that are happening in parallel with different servers, and that allows me to be able to play with these games without having to install any of these and compromise my keys by copying and pasting or whatever. In fact, the user never gets to see the keys, although they are distributed. So I know that's a little bit more complicated to explain maybe, but the cool thing is that the difference with all these other Web3 apps, I don't need to install any additional browser plugins to use the app. I can just scan a QR code or approve the connection, and that's it. So let's see if I can play Jump now. So what's going to, the main value proposition of Haste is that you can play games, and the people who are higher on the leaderboard get paid every time that someone tries to play and dethrone them. Right? So the better the better score you have, it's easier to stay up there and to make more money from people that are trying to dethrone you. So there's an economic incentive to actually get good at the game and keep trying and keep trying. And it's really, really cool what you can do with this. And let's say 10 cents for every play. I'm going to lose. I just want to show. Cool thing is that also with NFTs, there are some, you can buy some skins for the game, so it doesn't look as bland. And it's pretty cool because you can play basically for this free version, but if you want a cooler version, or change the ball or whatever, you can buy an NFT. They have this marketplace. And it's really cool because with NFTs and micropayments, you can have like DLCs I don't know if you're familiar with video games, but video games offer some extra downloadable content that's often.
So DLC stands for downloadable content.
Exactly. Okay. So you can normally you maybe pay for those DLCs like $10, $20 or whatever. The thing is that if you stop, the cool thing is that if they have figured out how to turn those DLCs into NFTs, and the cool thing about that is that once you are done using that extra downloadable content, let's say this ball that cost me $2, I can then resell it in a secondary market. So if I'm done playing, I can still profit a little bit on that, and Haste makes money. Another player buys it for lower value. So I think this is pretty cool, the kind of economies that you can create with this. And this is Lamint. This is kind of, just imagine Instagram, but every action has payments. Or let's say that you can have you can add tips and ask for money for comments or for download or paywall some images. So let's say that this is my page. Where I can see my referrals, notifications. Okay, so this is, I made a little bit over $5 with my pictures just by posting some pictures and getting tips and some comments. But there are people that are making serious money. Like I must assume this is like spicy picture or something. It's something that I should buy live. but you can add paywalls to your images here, and by paying like 10 cents, $1, or whatever, you can unlock the content. And it's pretty cool because we have seen how subscription models and ads everywhere are something that are starting to annoy people, especially subscriptions, because we are saturated with subscriptions. So having micropayments that you can embed in any app, game, or website is really powerful for the years to come, because it solves all this friction that that people don't want any other subscription. It's very hard to sell people on subscriptions nowadays. So that said, let me try to show you. So this is the web version, but in mobile mode for the 5.0. I wanted to show you on the iOS emulator, but for whatever reason, the Xcode compiler is not working properly. So this is the new version of HandCash, and this is what we are about to launch in a few days, although it will not say USD coin finally, because we had a situation with Circle. We can comment on that if you want later on. But the main thing is that we wanted to add a US dollar stablecoin. So
yeah,
we think that's the last thing that we needed for taking this mainstream. Because the problem is that many people say, oh, okay, I have this, and to this day, it still happens to us. Like some people say, like, what is that zero number that says like 0.09, whatever, or why my balance is changing all the time if I'm not making payments, right? So even though we have tried, and we thought that people would get used to using cryptocurrencies, it hasn't happened. So what we have to do is just use this cool technology, but make it look and work as regular dollars. So even though it might not end up being USDC, which is a stable coin issued by Circle, it's going to be a dollar stablecoin, and it's going to have the same properties. And the cool thing about this is that you have all the benefits of using these powerful micropayments inside apps and games, but you don't have to pay for credit card fees every time that you want to you want to make a micropayment inside an app or game. So effectively, this is what can enable having virtual currencies that are cross-app, cross-border, and we think there's a lot of power in that, and we've seen it with our own clients. And this is really cool. It's like there's an app. I don't know if I think the problem is that I think it's pointing now to. We prepared this app. Let me see if I can authorize. So we prepared this app, which is an AI image generator. That it works. Okay. This is an AI image generator. It's basically like a copycat for what OpenAI has. It uses the same technology. We just wanted to demonstrate that you can power these on-demand payments for AI-generated content without having to have a subscription. So maybe if you just want to generate 3 or 4 images, why do you want to subscribe for $10 per month, right? So I can say like yellow duck on a truck, something like that. So if I press this button, it says that it costs me 5 cents, and this works with this only works with our stablecoin. This doesn't even work with BSV, right? We wanted to make sure that this is a product that can appeal to all, wider audiences. Yeah. And it says you will only be charged for successful generations. So, seems like there's an issue with the app. Anyway, everything had to happen live. No, anyway.
So Alex, this AI generation thing, this is basically just taking what some people have done with ChatGPT and just adding micropayments directly into that. Yeah.
So the thing that they are having is that these companies with AI is the only way they figured out how to monetize this is by a subscription model, right? Yeah. So what we offer is that with this technology, you can have by-demand economy of AI generation. Even it doesn't matter if it's just text or images or whatever. If you know that your API calls cost like 1 cent and you can charge 5 cents, and the fees are so tiny that you can basically get to keep like 3.5 cents out of that. Effectively, what you can enable is like on-demand generation of AI content in a way where people will not say like, okay, I'm not interested in using your app because I don't want any other subscription.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be paid with USDC. Seems like the issue is with the API for the image generation. So I'm sorry for that. This is something that I wanted to show also, because normally payments, we are used that payments only go from one person to another, right? With HandCash, developers have the ability to program payments so you can have up to 1,000 recipients at the same time. So the way Haste does it is that they split it amongst the top 100 players. So you can see here that on these 10 cents were split among 85 people, and you can see all the list of people, and you can see their names. You can add them as friends.
Yep.
And so it's very social, and it's very cool, because if you want to power virtual economies, you need small fees, instant payments, you need transparency also, and you need all this flexibility of having like smart contracts and one pays all, and all this social element. And we think that the platform that we are creating, it's the perfect platform for powering virtual economies.
Cool. So to your knowledge, is there anyone else right now that's been able to kind of combine using micropayments to pay for generative AI?
Some the way that some portals do it is that they ask you for a higher payment, like $5 or $10 or whatever, and then they give you credits, right, that you can use on their platform, which works for that. I'm not saying that it's not going to work, but still they pay the credit card fees on top of that. And what we provide that's not especially the main use case that we provide, but the cool thing is that the way you have this, I mean, the biggest selling point of this technology compared to your own point system is that it's a connected economy, and the money can flow from one app to the other. So the cool thing is that if I already have this wallet with money that I already paid like $10, I can use those $10 in multiple apps instead of just having those $10 locked into one app. Because just imagine that if I pay $10 to use them as credits in one platform and I only use it like twice, it's like I throw away like $9.50 or something. So this gives more power to users. And for developers, the cool thing is that the entry barrier for users is lower in terms of the money required, because you don't tie people to subscriptions. You don't have to have annoying ads to compensate for this and have an awful user experience. And well, basically the cool thing is that you cannot, for example, the one that this app that we are working on, AI Imagination, we have a gallery of all the images that are generated. And one thing that we are adding is that people can pay 2 cents to see the prompts. We think that there's a market for AI prompts to generate images, because it's the difference between a very crappy image and a very nice image generated by AI is on the prompts that you use. So we can effectively also turn that content again into a very exciting, engaging experience where creators of these images also get paid by other users. And this is something cool because every time that we talk about payments, normally it's the user pays the platform. And with HandCash, what we enable with virtual economies is that users can pay each other.
Cool. So for the experience of those that are, potentially using HandCash, what does that look like? Like, so if you mentioned all these different companies that are currently using HandCash to do all these different things, what does that developer or company experience look like? Do they need to understand crypto or blockchain in any way to be able to, take advantage of what HandCash does?
Not really. I mean, at this point right now that we still have BSV, they have to understand, that cryptocurrencies fluctuate and all of that. Not much more. We have a set of APIs for developers that basically is just like handcash.pay, username, currency, and amount. That's it. And so you can say user pay Zach $1, and it doesn't get much more complicated than that. It's honestly just an SDK that you can plug into your app, and people can very easily connect to via either with a redirection to the app, or just scan a QR code with your phone, and it already links both accounts, and you can start using the app. So it's very easy for developers, and it's very easy for users. In terms of the only hurdle that we still have tied to cryptocurrencies is that we still use BSV amounts, but again, with the new version, we are going to have with the new version. Where is this? Okay. So yeah, so with the new version, we are going to have the stablecoin, and it's going to be much user friendly.
And after that, are you still going to continue BSV payments, or is it just going to be all USD by default?
So we figured out that the best way for our company is just to move away from as currencies inside apps and games or whatever. Just move away from crypto and focus on two things. One, local currencies, because it's what companies and users understand, and especially is what companies want.
Local fiat currencies, you mean?
Local fiat currencies, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we want to offer is a very easy way to, at the same time, manage loyalty points for each app. So I think those are the two things that companies really want. And the only reason why many of these companies have used Web3 protocols or cryptocurrencies or whatever is because it was the closest thing to actually achieve what they one day intended. But we think that the Web3 approach and even our approach has not been optimal in terms of onboarding users. And we think that in the next level, the next stage for HandCash, and this is something that we are going to announce very soon. Zach and some of the other the other investors already know about our plans, but we are going to have basically we want to turn the onboarding on its head. Because what we figured out after all these years of trying to get people to download the wallet and connect the apps or whatever, we figured out that the drop rate, and not just for HandCash, but if you see all Web3 is mostly dead because the onboarding process is so cumbersome.
What are some of those stats, Alex? We had a call where you shared some stats about onboarding. Do you have any of those handy?
Yeah,
you don't have to pull them up, but yeah. Oh, it's literally on the slide. Okay, yeah. Cool.
I have this. So this is like a sales speech, like an imaginary sales pitch of who we want to be, right? And the problems that we have detected. And this is where we are taking the company in the future. So the main issue is that startups don't have a good solution for embedding payments or virtual economies. I think that's the thing that we are solving. They have tried with Web3, but the main problem with Web3 is this mess. There's so much what's the name? Excuse me, because I'm not an English native speaking speaker, and there's a lot of so all this decentralization thing has basically captured all the attention for cryptocurrencies. And instead of having the focus on solving problems for the real world, they have focused too much on decentralization, and they forgot totally about UX. So they tried to so the problem is that I think those many of those Web3 projects are very interesting, very cool, but the problem is the execution is bad because the onboarding is a mess. And how we know that is a mess? This is the numbers, the problem in numbers, as we say. That like we see that across all the industry, 80% of average reported drop rate during onboarding when asked for a wallet, because most people don't have a wallet, and the ones that do maybe don't have the right wallet and token combination. So all of this is a mess because maybe you have MetaMask, but you don't have Binance Coin. But if you have Binance Coin, maybe you don't have the right token. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And if you try to be compatible with all of them, it's so expensive and so complicated to make it everything work together. And then the issue is that they have a lot of security breaches, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So we try to simplify this experience. We discussed also that the average amount required to fund your wallet for the first time is around $50. And also, they don't get to explain you that you also need a secondary currency for gas or paying fees for miners or all this complicated stuff. And most people will not, like 99% of the population is not even going to care to learn about all those things just to play a game. And after everything that happened with crypto, the further we stay publicly, I mean, the technology, the blockchain technology and blockchain-powered local currencies are very powerful. Yeah. But after everything that happened with crypto, we see that there are reports of 8% of Americans have a good, only 8% of Americans have a good perception of cryptocurrencies. So it's really hard. And this is the founder of a company called Funfair, and he said, I really like his quote, because we've seen the same thing from our side. High friction onboarding problem is something most blockchain projects won't discover until they actually launch. And this is an issue because then you have a lot of companies that are holding from actually spending money on user acquisition because they know that they can't retain users. And it's a mess. So our solution is that we have built a payment system specifically designed for powering virtual economies. Yeah. And so what we want to do is, instead of asking people to download the HandCash wallet and whatever for every app that they want to use, or for the first time that they want to use a HandCash powered app, what we want is that they get an account straight away from the client. In this case, this is an example for what it might look like with Haste. Yeah. And after they by using the same email on different page on different websites that use our technology, it remembers the whole account. So if you already had $20 on Haste, if you connect to a second app, you already have those $20 also available. So what we're doing is that instead of the wallet being a requirement, it's a convenience app that you can download to manage all your connections and your money and all of that. But it's not a requirement for our clients that are seeing big drop rates when asking for a wallet, and this is something that's unacceptable. Yeah, and also this is great for users because they don't have to do all these hurdles to get a wallet and understand blockchains and all of this. So this is just like one thing that my co-founder said is like, when most of the time that you've used PayPal, you didn't go to paypal.com. Yeah, and I think that's very so. Basically, what we want to do is turn HandCash into an account instead of a portal or app. I think the app is great. It works really cool and it's very powerful. But once you already have some apps connected, but our main job is to focus right now on having integrations, and then we can solve that other issue later on. I think the problem is that with Web3 and all of that, we thought that people were going to be downloading apps and crypto was going to catch up, and this is going to become normal, but it hasn't happened. So we think this is the right formula for all of that. This is other stuff. I don't want to get very dense with the presentation. Yeah. So yeah, basically what we want to do is that we give the tools for all these apps to create their virtual economies, but we just get out of the way.
Cool. Well, I have some more questions, but before I just keep asking, it's been about half an hour. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Alex? I know you're not able to unmute yourself, so just if you're able to write in the chat or raise your hand in case you want to ask Alex something. If not, I have no shortage of things on my end. Okay, well, I will keep going, and feel free to change your mind at any point, or put the hand up even while Alex or I are talking. We look forward to hopefully hearing from you. So yeah, Alex, I saw that figure on how the average person pays $50 to fund their initial wallet. That just seems insane to me, given you're showing me that you can play things for 1 cent, for 10 cents, and that your wallet currently has $4 in it. Can you maybe give a more comprehensive explanation as to why the existing kind of wallet payment solutions within crypto are just so poor?
Yeah, so I think the main issue is that as you are, it's like you're basically buying money. So normally when you pay in one of these places that when they have like a point system or a credit system, when you pay $5 and you see that you have a $5 credit, it's because they're already counting on, or they're already discounting themselves from their earnings. They're already discounting the credit card fees. They just assume, for whatever, that they have this amount of credit card fees and all of that. The thing with crypto is that you have to pay the exchange, maybe the payment acquirer with the credit card fees and all of that. And so you have to add all of that on top of the value that the cryptocurrency has. And some exchanges also give you an exchange rate that's also, when you already receive the money, you see that the exchange rate was a little bit inflated on their favor. So the problem is that most crypto payments, crypto on-ramp rails, let's say, like buybsv.com, well, that case for BSV, or MoonPay, or things like that, they have like a minimum of $30 or $50 or whatever to buy crypto. And also, I think most of the issue is that there has not been ever a need for smaller amounts, because everybody has seen this as an investment instead of a technology that they can use for powering payments, especially micropayments. Because if you talk about micropayments, asking a new user to spend $50 on this is just crazy. So that's why we ended up building our own fiat rails. And that's something that I also can talk a little bit about. But the main thing is that we wanted to lower the entry barrier to around $5. We might have to increase it now to $10 because we changed the provider, but still from $10 to $50, $60, it's a huge drop.
And you're gonna get more for your buck. So even if you're putting in $10 versus $5, you're only charging them, well under a cent for each transaction, where the most common wallet people are using is the Ethereum wallet, or often the fees can be, many dollars for just a single transaction rather than well below a cent. So it's also not just how annoying it is to start, but it's what's the experience once you kind of get onboarded. So Alex, we're seeing the network fee. So that's, wow, so many zeros. Well below a cent.
Yeah.
Was that
and for
90,000th of a penny, or is that?
I don't know. I don't know numbers that low. I don't know how they work, but the payments that we have, user pays user. This payment from Dave, I cannot see it here, but on his end he can see that this payment was free. We paid for the miner fee ourselves, and for USDC we are going to be paying the miner fee ourselves. Because it's very important for app developers. They will eventually, we will make it up by charging developers for the payments. But it's important that users don't have to have like a BSV and a stable coin to be able to use it, like it happens with Ethereum or Solana. With Solana, I was trying to test USDCs on Solana, And I didn't know that I also needed Sol tokens for this. So I ended up spending like 60 or 70 bucks on having both currencies, one for paying for the fees, and the other one for using it on apps. It's ridiculous. It's something that's unacceptable, I think.
Yeah. So in that vein, I see current assets. Any comments on the USDC situation, backup plans? Yeah. So you kind of briefly alluded to something where you had Circle, who issue as USDC, as your original provider for kind of the APIs to use USDC on BSV, which today is like the kind of most scalable or cheapest blockchain to be able to operate on. But now that part, if you could maybe talk about maybe briefly why that partnership stopped. And I know you have kind of a new partner now for USDC and some other options as well. Can you maybe just talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah, let me explain the whole situation a little bit. I will try to be as brief as possible. So Circle is was our payment acquirer for over a year. So we've been working with them and we had no issues with them. But the only thing we used Circle for was for the fiat ramps originally. So they were the ones doing the USD acquisition via credit card, and they credited us on our Circle company account with USDCs, correct? So what we did right now is that we operated with those USDCs through another exchange, Roundrock. We bought, every time that someone bought BSV from our app, we triggered the system, so we automatically made a purchase of BSV for the equivalent amount of USDC, whatever, and we settled like every 5 days or so. And then we started settling with both with the payment with the liquidity provider more often because we started selling more. But all Circle did was doing the payment acquire and converting it to USDC. And this was critical for us at the beginning because it gave us the regulatory umbrella to actually do that trade from USDC to BSV, right? This was crucial for us because we couldn't afford it regulatory wise. Cool thing is that just in case, because we didn't want to depend on Circle or anyone, we got a crypto license on Lithuania. In fact, we bought a company that already had the exchange license, and we are a regulated exchange, even though we don't offer like a website or whatever, but we have all the legal requirements to create an exchange on Lithuania and offer exchange services, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
So,
and does that license in Lithuania, does that just apply to Lithuanian customers, or because you're doing it legally, you could do it worldwide or even in the US? What does that mean?
For the service of exchanging one currency for the other, with the acquisition, we could do it worldwide. But the cool thing is with the Lithuanian company, we have other things that only apply to Europe, and I think some others to the UK. Like, for example, if we wanted, we could be custodians, or we can offer custodian services in Europe. We also can offer cash out to a bank account in Europe. So we have right now the regulatory umbrella ourselves, especially in Europe and UK, and for the US, we are going to be working with other providers when required. The cool thing is that we have two different companies that have different concerns. So one is an exchange, and the other one is a wallet company, is a software company. So the software company is the one that we are moving the IP to the US, and that one doesn't require the same things that the Lithuanian company does, because it's the functions are very different. So this is cool because it gives us a lot of flexibility without having to apply to a lot of regulations in every single country. So long story short, they revoked our agreements with them. All of a sudden, no explanations given. They told us that they didn't want to give us any explanation. And even though we have always paid in time, we applied to a lot of licenses and stuff because they asked for it, like IPC compliance, things like that. anyway, the cool thing is that we were not as dependent in them for doing this USDC thing. It was just more convenient because we could offer things like you could deposit from multiple blockchains, USDCs on HandCash. We had it working and it worked great. And you could also withdraw USDCs to other blockchains that have USDC, like Tron, Polygon, Solana, all these, right? Or Ethereum. The cool thing is that we can still do basically the same thing without Circle, and yeah, we don't really need to issue a stablecoin, although it would be safer if a third-party company was issuing a US-backed stablecoin that can run across all BSV, because then it gets easier for us. Also, less responsibility in terms of it's kind of complicated to pull off a stablecoin. So, but the cool thing is that depending on the features that we offer for app developers and the use cases that we have and all of that, and depending on how we treat this token, we can issue US token on our own closed network, HandCash, because we have all the traceability of where the money is going. So ultimately, it's like this. There's this definition of kind of private money with a virtual currency. And there are some limitations to it, but we think that maybe that's the best way forward, and that was the model that we were going to do with USDC. So we can do the same thing, even if we don't use the USDC branding for because right now many of our users are rightfully so pissed off with the situation with Circle and all of that. But we can still have a USD stablecoin. Even if it's backed with USDC or whatever, that's not an issue.